You were smiling before. Don't stop just because you're in the chair.
Okay.
Then the second one is...
My name is Sandra, and I embraced Islam 10 years ago at the age of 31. I was born in Colombia, and I was born into a Catholic family. Since a very young age, I was very involved in the church, and especially in the choirs. At the age of 6, I started singing in all the Christmas events and Easter events, and I was pretty much into it. And that's how my life developed. I was very close to the church, especially anything that had to be with music, I was into it. I joined a choir, a children's choir, and I was being always active in the church. So when I finished my high school, I realized the love I had for music, and I wanted to move forward to it. And I knew I had a very, very strong potential as a singer. I had been done a lot of solo singing in classical repertoire. I was very much involved in a lot of Colombian level musical performances. So I joined the musical program to develop myself as an opera singer. And I finished my career as an opera singer in Colombia. Then I moved to Austria. I was accepted to enter in the Vienna Conservatory. And then I was exposed for the first time to what the real life of music was. I was very, very dedicated in my music, but I was always feeling an emptiness in me. Of course, I moved alone. I went by myself, and I was living with friends. But always my family was not there, so I would always feel like I had the voice of my family and telling me, keep connected to your faith. So I remember every day going through the conservatory, I will stop and I will go and enter into the church. And I remember my impression going inside and seeing all these statues and seeing people mainly with white hair. You would rarely see young people there. Although the places were amazing, it was really like a piece of art, but there was no soul inside of them. But I just wanted to keep connected to my family and to what I was as a child, connected to the church. So I will keep on going. And I remember going inside the church and feeling like, okay, there's this Mary looks beautiful today. Let's put a candle here and make a prayer here. And the next day I will go and to another church, and maybe it was a church with the name of a saint. So I will go and pray to the saint. And it was just, starting to feel like it's really confusing. When you are out of the environment where you are grown, you start to make your questions and start to think outside of the box. And as much as I wanted to keep connected to God, because that's how I was raised, I was feeling there were many things that were not clear to me, and there were many questions that were opening up, and I wanted to understand. But I knew since the beginning that I arrived to Austria that once I would finish my degree, I wouldn't like to stay there. I felt like I was completing my degree to please my family. I grew up feeling that I wanted to please everybody, and I felt that with my singing I made many people happy. I could bring peace. I could make a religious event, a wedding, beautiful. Sometimes after the wedding people wouldn't say how nice the priest spoke, but how beautiful the music was. It was like music was the center of the faith. Like people were going to the church looking to being satisfied with the music. People will go to these amazing cathedrals just to hear the music. And once the big pieces of the repertoire were done, halfway the mass, suddenly the church would be empty. I remember Japanese buses stopping just next to the cathedrals, and then the church would be full of people. And once the communion started, that usually if you think about Schubert, like masses or Mozart masses, the music goes until the communion, and then after that, once the communion was over, the church was empty, and the priest was really upset. Once I continue studying, and I was about to reach my final diploma, my final degree, I remember feeling this sense of loneliness and confusion and frustration and not clarity where my life was going towards to. I was raised to be somebody helpful in the society, very caring, very loving. My family has done amazing charity work, and I grew up with all that. And then I would see how the behavior of people in the music world was the opposite, an environment of one pushing the other one or doing things that were not right in order to show or to glow. And I couldn't see myself doing that. It was very difficult because I knew there was a big expectation behind what I was doing. So I remember very well, maybe 2 months before finishing my degree, and going, like, it was late, and I remember this prayer I did. And that day, I felt for the first time I'm not praying to a saint or to the Virgin or to Jesus. I felt I was praying with the real, truly God. And I was saying, please guide me. I'm completely lost. I don't know what I should do with my life. So please, please guide me. And it was a very truly do a prayer for guidance. And I had the opportunity at that moment either to go to Spain and join an aunt, or to apply to move as an immigrant to Canada. I applied, and it was amazing. After 3 months, just at the moment of my degree being finished, I got the acceptance to move to Canada. So I felt this is a clear sign. I should go there. Canada is an amazing place because it's very multicultural. I had the opportunity to see people from many places that I never had the opportunity before in my country or in Australia, just studying. And I got in touch with Muslims, and at an event, a multicultural event. And there they start asking me about my faith. I felt I have to be strong, and I know I have my doubts, but this is who I am. So I would, try to repeat what I was raised up having to say. But then, of course, as a diplomatic way, if somebody had asked me about my religion, I had to ask back. So it was the first time I was encountering Muslims, and so I was asking, okay, so what do you believe in? I didn't know anything about Islam, and I was amazed to know that in Islam, Maryam, the Virgin Mary in Catholicism, was a very important woman, one of the 4th most important women in Islam, and that Jesus, Isa, was a very important prophet, and that they had the same prophets that I grew up knowing in the Christianity. So I didn't know that. So I was really mesmerized. I felt like we are so close. I didn't know. I just heard always from the news, these people are doing things that are wrong. So I started to want to know more about Islam. I remember going to the priest in the university and asking him, what do you think about these questions I have? And I felt there was no answer. And then if I would go to Islam, I would see like so clear and pure, and everything is there. It's so close, but it completely started to answer all my questions. So Ramadan was coming soon. Very blessed to be invited to a mosque for an iftar, and it was going to be Taraweeh after. And since the communities are small, people will come for the iftar, and then they will stay until the prayer of Taraweeh. So I remember going for the iftar, and I remember how these ladies who had been fasting for a whole day would give me food first, and I was like very impressed how people were not just jumping, they were doing a prayer before eating. And then I saw for the first time the prayer of Islam, and it was the most beautiful thing I had encountered until the moment, to see how people were all standing in lines and doing the same movements at the same time, and then to hear the Quran for the first time for me was like a kinesthetic experience. I remember feeling like I was embraced, and it was something really out of this world. I felt I need to listen more of this, and I need to know more about this religion, because I really love how it looks and how it feels. It was for me that really the spirituality was there, and I wanted more of it. And then I had the opportunity to compare both, and for me it was clear that what really the connection with the only God was in this Islam. So once I came back from Colombia, I had to do my shahada. That was for me. It was for me very clear. It took more or less like a year or like less than a year. But then it was just the beginning. You know, you need to learn so many steps, and you need to give yourself time. And of course, I didn't tell my family right away. I started chatting with them, especially with my brother who was present in Canada, then my parents over the phone. I would just throw questions. And then, of course, they start saying that there was something happening with me because I was making questions that I didn't do. And see, Jesus, did you know that Jesus is so important in Islam, but he's a prophet? Did you know that God doesn't have to die to forgive us? It's everybody's responsibility to perform in this life to gain heaven. It's not granted that because somebody does something for you that means that you're going to go to heaven. Like, it's really up to each one. So they started to see that I was questioning myself, and in my path I was questioning them. So, but it took me a year to tell them about my conversion. And once I told them, which for them was almost like, at that point, my brother already knew because he would see me that I was, going to the Islamic centers and meeting with people. And so he saw obviously my change. And then I told them, they kind of accepted, but I felt I need to do something, even for the people in my environment, to see that I'm truly meaning my conversion, my new faith. I have to put a hijab on. I remember telling a friend, next Ramadan, I will start wearing hijab. And then she told me, why do you have to wait until Ramadan? And I remember coming back home and, yes, why do I have to wait? And I started reflecting on it, and I said, very good to show that Islam was good. So it was like a protection of myself if I were to do something that it was not not accepted. I would remind myself, I have the hijab, I need to be good. So alhamdulillah, they accepted me, they respected me. Mainly with my mom and my father, I had a lot of opportunities to talk about it in detail. With my brothers and sisters, there's more like an acceptance. At the beginning of my conversion, I felt like I had to talk with everybody, I need to tell everybody has to be Muslims. And then I realized everybody needs a time, and it's only Allah who guides. And through my behavior, I do more than through speaking out. So every time I see them, they can feel it, and my du'as, they are always there, and I pray that Allah will guide them. Islam has been for me the greatest gift I ever had. Like, now I'm married, I have another daughter, and I keep on telling my husband and my daughter, I love you a lot, but for me, the first thing and the best thing that ever happened is Islam. It completely took away all the questions I had and all the anxiety I had, and gave me this peace and this light and this clarity that I didn't have before. I guess for me, the main concern was that I felt I have to give up my music, because I felt I couldn't deal with music and Quran at the same time. So there was a big transition there, but I ended up giving up music, and I completely never missed it after that. I felt that all the skills that I acquired through my studying, alhamdulillah, I was able to use them to learn about Quran, to learn how to read Quran, and to memorize, and to be able to learn the language. You and me and everybody and everything around us was born to submit to the Creator. Once you feel that you belong to Him, and that you know that you're going to meet Him after you die, you should not wait until this moment comes, because you never know when this moment might come. It might come tomorrow, and you don't want it to be too late. And the reward of being a Muslim is so much greater than all the difficulties that you might face in your transition. It is actually very, very easy if you hold yourself to Allah, and He will make everything easy for you. Just put your trust there. He will make the path for you. Sincere prayer to Him from the deepest place in your heart, and that will bring the clarity, and that will give you the strength that you need in order to make your decision.